aka Diz, and this is The Force Always.
Okay, let's get into Star Wars news, views, reviews, and interviews by myself. So, this week in the Star Wars news, Force Friday is fastly approaching us. Force Friday for the Solo, a Star Wars story film that's coming out at the moment, May 25. I don't know the exact date for the Australian release yet, but I think it's going to be that date or possibly before. But Force Friday, which happens about a month or two before the actual release of the film, usually 2 or 3, but because of the schedule of Solo, it's going to be close to the date. April 13 could be the day for Force Friday. That's right. Force Friday, April 13 for Solo, a Star Wars story merchandise. So keep that locked in for possible purchases. To more news. On the iTunes chart here in Australia, the iTunes chart, The Last Jedi this week went from 1 to 4. It's in number 4 position. So it's just dropped dramatically in just 1 week. So that's the iTunes chart here in Australia for The Last Jedi. It's now at number 4. To more news, the release of the Blu-ray 4K DVD for The Last Jedi is now out. You can check all the features and the great film as it is today at home on a disc or even in your iTunes. To more news, Solo, a Star Wars story trailer, the actual official trailer, which is yet to be dropped. I mean, we've had teasers, 2 teasers, a teaser to the teaser and a teaser, but the Solo, a Star Wars story trailer is rumored to be April 26 or April 27, just depends what part of the world you're in, with the Avengers Infinity War movie coinciding with that. So you want to check that out. April 26 or 27 for the Solo, a Star Wars story trailer, the official trailer. That should be at that time. That's not confirmed, it's a rumor. To more news, Solo, a Star Wars story is making some interesting headlines this week, but the ads, the actual posters, character posters, and the main poster, we saw some ads with to gun or not to gun. That was with the position with a gun and without a gun. It was first believed that these were an attempt to reduce gun violence wherever it is in the world, but later discovered that it was certain countries' posters to choose to have no weapons in the posters for whatever reason. So you can now get Solo character posters, the updated ones from the so-called copied ones from the particular music album covers. You can actually get ones with guns and ones without guns. It's all the character posters and the collective of characters as well, with or without guns. 2 more news. George Lucas, the man, through Mark Hamill, has sort of revealed what he was going to do with Episode 9 in the parts of Luke and Leia. Luke Skywalker, that is the character, would have survived to Episode 9, having Princess Leia, or General Leia, be his apprentice, training in the Force, or maybe not an apprentice, but let's say training in the Force at least. So that's sort of been partly revealed via Mark Hamill. So that is interesting. So George Lucas' story treatment, which really hasn't been sort of portrayed in the sequel trilogy, but George Lucas would have had Luke Skywalker, the character, and General Leia survive to Episode 9, where Luke would have been training Princess or General Leia in the ways of the Force. That made news this week. To more news, Lord and Miller, who were the directors who got fired from Solo, a Star Wars story movie, they got fired, now going to have the credit in the movie as executive producers. That's right. You'll see in the credits Lord and Miller as executive producers in Solo, a Star Wars story. The movie coming out very, very soon. Anyway, that was the news for this time around. I've got to thank once again Sean with Sources of the Forces. He brings to me some great sort of news items. I do contribute as well. There's various ways we check out what's happening, not just the internet, but just many ways. But thanks to Sean with Sources of the Forces, his contribution is greatly appreciated. Now, let's get into views. Now, views this time around is all about Solo, a Star Wars story. What villain would I like to see? I mean, I'd like to have an original villain in Solo, a Star Wars story. I keep saying Solo because the whole sentence is quite a bit of a tongue twister at times. But anyway, I would like to see, actually, personally, even though this is a bit of a throwback, but I'd like to see more of Jabba the Hutt. I think he's potentially a major creature in Han Solo's life, as we sort of got to see sort of through the original trilogy and sort of through the prequels. We saw Jabba here and there, but we didn't see, obviously, Solo. But I would like to see Jabba. I think that would really be a great sort of fan service, but at the same time, a real great villain. I mean, he's such a, charismatic character that I think it would be great. I'd like for him to be one of the, this great villain that is sort of, is pulling the strings in the Han Solo world, in how his life is being orchestrated as a story idea. So that's what I think. I'd like to see Jabba the Hutt. I know it's a bit of a fan service, but it's something that is relevant at that time period, and he is someone we've not really explored in. And I'd like to not know more about his backstory, his origin, just sort of being just a true gangster as we sort of got to know him to be. Jabba the Hutt. That's my story idea. I'd like to see that to be in Solo, a Star Wars story, as a main villain. One of the main villains. But we can't have too many villains. It's going to get too confusing. This is not a Marvel movie where you have too many things happening at once. But nothing against Marvel movies. That's how they are these days. So that's my views for this time around. Let's get into the reviews. Now, this is a very, very interesting review. First, I'm going to start off with the release of The Last Jedi. I've only been able to check out some of the features. The features that I went straight to, the first thing I went to was the deleted scenes. I'm not a big deleted scenes person, but I just thought I'd just go there. They were really, really detailed. And the amount and the look of the actual deleted scenes, and even having Rian Johnson start off with a sort of a presentation, and having a audio commentary by him, and on or off, whatever you like, I thought it was fantastic. So far, this Last Jedi Blu-ray DVD is looking good. I mean, I've not yet to see all the other features. I will review the other features as a whole or in parts, but let's concentrate on the actual deleted scenes. I thought the presentation and the type of deleted scenes and how we got them, and they were most of them were almost done. I give this a 10 out of 10. I mean, it was so entertaining to watch this, including Rian Johnson sort of presenting at the start and having also a commentary about them. I thought that's fantastic. It's great. 10 out of 10 for The Last Jedi deleted scenes that's available on the Blu-ray, certain Blu-rays and 4K and release and things like that. But the other review this week is what I've titled this episode. It's called Star Wars Clickbait. In the last week, we've had a couple YouTubers sort of not be so happy with each other, and because of clickbait. For me, clickbait is a word that sort of comes off with a feeling like it's, you're being lured into a sinister plot. I use Instagram, I use Twitter to advertise my shows and anything Star Wars, whatever it is, maybe getting the Blu-ray or being in a certain place or meeting someone or something like this. But I do also use it to advertise shows. I don't consider it's an evil plot to, get your attention. It's just an advertisement. So I think clickbait sounds bad. It's got a bad feeling to it. I just use it and I think of it as advertising. That's what I say. But going back to the particular YouTubers that I had viewed in the last week, I don't just get my information from YouTube. I get it from internet, I get it from being out and about, from fans that I know, things like this. But the particular YouTubers will, sometimes come off like they are representing Star Wars itself. All of our Star Wars YouTubers are out here, I believe, because we want to be a part of the Star Wars universe. I mean, it's a dream come true without actually being a part of the employment of Star Wars. But as these two and other YouTubers got involved, which I won't name because I don't want to sort of bring this to be about the particular YouTubers, but something more on the lines of, having the responsibility of doing what the other YouTuber says that is right and wrong. I think if you have a particular show, you just present your show as it is. If you want to be hard-edged and really opinionated, fine, that's your style. If you want to be a person that really details all the stories and be information-based, that's your style. But no one really has the true, absolute way to dictate on how other people should have their show. Just let it be. I still watch these YouTubers, but I do have the thought of what had been transpired in the last week. It was quite interesting to sort of view this. I thought it was not a really good look or good sound or whatever, how you ever check these shows. But, unless you're on the payroll of Star Wars itself, you've no real reason to tell other people off. That's my opinion. It's just an opinion. That's all it is. But, sort of this, in a way, is contradicting myself, but it's all about Star Wars clickbait. I don't, and I put on oath here, I don't use clickbait. I use ways to advertise what I do, and by Twitter, by Instagram, and things like email, things like that. I do it directly to people, and I do it as a whole, as a news feed. If people don't want to take it, they don't have to take it. They want to say, please don't send me these things, I don't do it. That's it. Anyway, so Star Wars clickbait. I just don't think people should should view it as clickbait. I think people should start to really sort of see what it is. It's just an advertisement. It's a way of getting your show across to people, or your picture, or your comment. That's it. Anyway, so that's my review this week, which is unusual because I thought the review is all about the Star Wars clickbait. I think it's it's just it's a 1 out of 10 feeling of people viewing advertising, which is known as clickbait. It's just it's a negative way of looking at it or hearing it, or that's not what it is in my opinion. Anyway, so that's a 1 out of 10. So people who view things like this as clickbait, please just drop it, and let's just get on with Star Wars. Anyway, so let's get into the interviews. Interviews this time is 2Q. That's 2 questions I asked myself for you guys out there. First question is, what do I think of the solo credit for Lord and Miller? I find it very suspicious. I think it's a good inclusion, and I think it should be just put to rest. I think when the movie comes out, the heat will be back on them, whether they are there at the actual world premiere or not. I think they will be definitely people that that people ask them and what they thought of the movie. It's good to have them credited, but I find it very suspicious. That's what I think. What do I think of the solo credit for Lord and Miller? I think it's suspicious, but they need some sort of credits. But executive producer, it sounds a bit suspicious to me. But anyway, two more news. To the next question. What do I think of what should be in this Solo trailer that is shortly coming to the airwaves everywhere? What do I think should have in it? I think there should be a much more Alden Ehrenreich. We need to really see his performance, that is Han Solo. And it needs to end with a villain that could be shrouded in mystery. As I've said earlier in the show, I'd like to see Jabba the Hutt. If that sort of, brings us to that, if he's in a movie, ending off with that villain would be a great inclusion to the actual trailer. We definitely need to see Alden Ehrenreich sort of act and sound more like Han Solo. I think he's a great actor from what I've seen in the snippets we've seen in the teasers so far. I think he's great, but I'm yet to get that Han Solo feel about him. And I think the feel needs to sound like and look like Han Solo. It needs to be part of it. Because if it's not, it won't sell it to people as being Han Solo. To the casual fan, to the regular movie audience goer, and to the hardcore fan. We need to have points of looking and sounding, just as Ewan McGregor did with Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's in my opinion. So what do I think the Solo trailer should have is more Alden Ehrenreich acting as Han Solo and ending off with a mysterious sort of villain that we may recognize, which I would like for it to be Jabba the Hutt as one of the main villains. Not but as one. But almost like the big guy pulling all the strings. I mean, that to me would be great. Anyway, so that's the interviews for this time around. Or please subscribe to this channel, The Force Always, only on YouTube. It's a weekly Star Wars news, views, reviews, interviews program. Like, share this video, whatever you like to do. Leave me your comment if you like, that'd be great. And as I keep saying every week at the end of the show, keep rocking.